Hey y'all, welcome to Shoni D Handmade. Today we're going to be working on a ribbed beanie. It's very simple, something nice to add to your wardrobe capsule for fall and for winter. So let's get into it. The materials that we'll need today is yarn of your choice. I've selected size 4 worsted weight yarn by Loops&Threads. The color is mustard. I'm also using a 6 millimeter crochet hook. Most people like to use a 5 or 5.5 millimeter hook, but my stitches are usually tight. My tension is tight, so I go for a 6. You'll need your own measuring tape, as messy as this looks, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. The length of this beanie here is about 15 inches long. I picked 15 inches because most people that I make hats for, they like them to have a thick brim. So around 15 inches long, which would be about 55 uh, foundation chain stitches. But in this case, I'm only going to do about 25 chain stitches just to get you on the road to where you want to be in making this hat. You can use whatever number of stitches you like. It doesn't have to be divisible by anything. It's just whatever length that you'd like to make your hat in. Okay, so we're going to start off with a slip knot. And like I said, just for the sake of a tutorial, I'm going to chain 25. Okay, then I'm going to chain 1. So to get started, I'm going to yarn over, put my hook through the loop, pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through 3. This is half double crochet, yarn over, stick my hook through the loop, pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through 3. We're going to go all the way down until we're down to the last 5 chains. It's okay if your work starts to curl a little bit. Like I said, my tension is pretty tight. And thus I use bigger or half size bigger hook for my projects because I know me. Okay. Just in one of those loops. Y'all, I pulled up so much yarn bar. Don't even get me started on the center pole girlies, yarn bar, like really. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains left on our foundation chain. And in order to get that nice tightness to pull through on our crown of the hat, we're going to slip stitch in those last 5 chains of our foundation chain. So in order to slip stitch, you're going to stick your hook inside the loop, pull up 1, and then pull through the loop on the hook. Let's do it again. Let's say this the right way. Stick your hook into the chain, pull through a loop, and then pull through the loop on the hook. Do it again. Very easy. You want to make sure you don't have tight tension during this, because you're going to have to go through those stitches again. Now we're going to chain one. This does not count as a stitch. The next stitch on the other side is going to go into that last slip stitch. So turn your work, insert your hook into the back loop, which is here. Pull through again, make it as loose as you possibly can. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then back into that back loop, we're going back to half double crochet all the way down. I'm going to do a few rows with you, and then we're going to talk about how wide we want our hat to be. Okay, yarn over, stick it in the back loop, half double crochet. I like half double crochet because it makes my hats feel thick and warm. It's not a whole lot of air seeping through on those cold days. No matter where I am, even if I'm traveling, this hat will go everywhere. And I'm prepared to anybody's coldness. Okay, so meet me when we get towards the end of this row. Okay, guys, so I have one more stitch remaining. So when you get to the end and it looks like there's still a little lip right here, look to the side of that stitch, the previous row. And if there's still one more V right there, that's when you know you're in your last stitch of the row. And in order to turn your work, we're going to chain one to set our stitch up. This does not count as a stitch on the row. Okay, so half double crochet into the previous half double crochet. We're not going to half double crochet inside that chain. Let's keep on going. And when we get to 5 stitches left, I'll let you know where we go from there. Okay, so I did my last half double crochet for this particular row, and the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches is going to be slip stitches. So again, you insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through the loop on the hook. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And it's slim on this side because we don't want any bulkiness when it's time to pull our crown tight. So to set up for the next row, we're going to chain one and turn. And because we ended on this side with slip stitches, we're going to begin again with slip stitches. Remember, the first chain does not count as a stitch. So we slip stitch into the back loop. The back loop is going to be every single row, back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th one. Then we have double crochet in a back loop all the way down. Okay. Now I don't count my rows. I just measure to how wide I want my hat to be. For most preteens, teens, and adults, their heads measure between 20, 21 inches in circumference. But I don't make my hat in 21 inches in circumference because the ribbing is going to give us, it's going to give a bit. It's going to be stretchy. So this is what I mean. And our finished hat, quite stretchy when you put it on for ribbing. And so the width of my hats, I usually stop between 17 and 18 inches. Older than half is 9 inches. So what you don't want to do, you don't want to go to 20 if you don't want your hat to be loose. If you want it to fit tight like a scully, it's still going to be plenty of breathing space in it. You want to stop between the 17 and 18 mark because it will give for a few extra inches. And I'll be back when I get to my very last row of around between 17 and 18 inches. Okay, guys, I'm back. And I'm at the end of my row. And I know this looks like a very short hat, but this is just for the tutorial. This is what the crown is going to look like. See what I mean? Nice and tight here. So when it's time to gather it up, it won't be such a strain if the top was just as wide as the brim. Okay. So I'm on my last row. My very last row, I finished off at the bottom of the hat. Let me put that chain around. Boom. And let's measure. Let's see where we are with measurement. Okay, so from here to here-ish, here to here, spread out, we're about 17 and a half inches, right? So in order to take the width and pull it together, we're going to fold our hat like so. And we're going to use this particular, I don't know what this method is called, y'all. Forgive me. I just be figuring out stuff on the internets. I'm going to join by slip stitching the back loop only of both ends of the width of the hat. So I'm going to insert my hook into the inner loop right here. Right? Make sure my yarn is worked through the middle and underneath. Then I come to this side and put it through that loop right there. Yarn over and pull through all three. Let's go this side. And then this side. Then I pull through all three. This side. This side. Pull through all three. The reason I like joining this way is because it's very forgiving. First off, if you made any mistakes, also it helps to blend the ribbing at the joining site. Now, if you rather sew it together and this is just too much, feel free to do that. I have no problem with that. This is just my method. I thought I'd show you guys. See how well it blends the ribbing. So there's no distinguishing line between each, at least not too bad. I think it's a great way to join. And I'm going to join this way all the way to the top of the hat. And I'll let you guys know when we're done with that. Okay, guys. So I've joined all the way up. It's kind of look like a skirt, huh? Okay. I'm going to give this tail a little extra, maybe about right here, and cut it off. Notice both my tails are on one side of the hat. Pull this through really good. Usually I tie a little knot to close that gap. I double knot everything, guys, just, in case. And so I'm going to take a darning needle or yarn needle to feed this tail in through to the top, the crown of our hat, so that we can pull it tight and then sew in our ends. Okay, y'all, so I'm back with my needle. Let's first weave in the short tail, so that it's out the way. I don't weave the whole thing in. I just go in and do most of it because it's already a knot tied, and the color is gonna match. And plus, we're gonna count this as the inside of our hat. I try not to pull my stitches to the other side because I don't want that weird tension when someone's trying to stretch a hat onto the head. So I just go through one of the ribbings just towards the inside of the hat, which we're going to say this is turned inside out. Okay. Stretch that a little bit and chop off the end like that. Now let's do, this is way too much tail, but we're going to do this anyway. Feed this into our needle. This is how I do it. I pick the top of each ribbing that is facing this way, and I just loop like this and loop going in the same direction. Just one piece of yarn. It doesn't have to be the whole stitch, just one single. It's looping around. I want it to pull like drawstring. And I don't want to take too much into it, because then it'll make it bulky. We want this stitch to sit as flat as possible. And no matter how many stitches it is, I just keep going across. I know it's a lot, but we want to be able to wash this hat and the stitches don't come loose. We want it to have some longevity. Now that we did all the way around, we're going to pull. You want those stitches to sit close together. Pull. As tight as possible. Okay, and we want the top to all sit together. Just hold it like that. Then I like to sew. Once those stitches are together, I sew going across. Then I sew on T-shape. Then pull as tight as possible. I try to make sure I remain at the top of the stitches, not too far deep. And then I just zigzag my way. Get in there. All the way across. Please be careful, y'all. I almost stuck my finger. Zigzag all the way across. Make sure you're holding the top of those stitches as far top as you can possibly get, gathering all of them. Okay, I think this is good enough. Then that last one, pull that loop and the thread through that loop, pull tight again. Then I make a knot with that loop. Pull it tight. Still a whole lot of tail left. It's okay. We're going to weave that last bit in. This may seem like a lot, but I try not to lose or skip out on the tightness that I could possibly do for my crowns, because I know they're gonna be tossed in the washing machine. I wash my hair, then I wash my hats. My son, 6 years old, his hats are gonna be dirty from school. They get kicked around the playground or whatever. I wash my hats often. And the last thing I want is for something to become unraveled. Okay, so this is good enough right here. I think I've woven in my ends good enough. Chop that. See, nice crown. Sits fairly flat. Just like this one. Nice and flat. Okay. Of course, like I said, this was just for tutorial purposes to have the hat this small. I don't know. It might be cute. I might give it to my 6-year-old. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for staying till the end of this tutorial. If you have any other questions about things that you see that I've made or posted on Instagram and you want it included into your wardrobe, let me know and I'll make a tutorial on how I did it, or I'll refer you to the tutorial that I followed if it was not an original design. Bye.